I'm Anilash Assis. We'll be talking about location and analytics today. So we have heard about all the Marvis and AI and agentic and all the stories on what Bob and team is doing. We have heard about what Wes and the Wi-Fi 7 access point is bringing to the table. We also heard from Access Assurance how we are innovating. So the same infrastructure, same cloud, same LLM. We have the capability of adding customers to give a better experience with indoor location services, real-time location services, and the data what you collect from that is used for analytics in different ways. So it is with the Wi-Fi 7, we have an access point where you introduce the ultra-wideband with dual BLE radios. So we can solve more, end customer problems or give solutions to not just one use case of, say, asset visibility or user engagement, or if you have a customer who has an electronic shelf label, all those kind of things. So that is the there are three different use cases. You're familiar with most of the use cases, be it app used for wayfinding, be it virtual notification if you're going into a store and getting a promotion coupon while identifying that you're in the deli versus a grocery aisle. All these things are happening with the user engagement, and there are new things what are learning from customers, what will solve identifying a contextual marketing campaign. On the asset visibility and the people visibility, there is so much innovation we have been able to do with machine learning for asset tags. We were able to get large scale, consistent, accurate data point for staff duress or employee safety, or for assets going between zones to find out where is the utilization, where is the crowding of employees in your corporate facility. Last but least, the analytics part. We'll talk about this. So this basically from last MFT, it's a look back of what we were doing, and I have mentioned a small bit of. We have been constantly trying to improvise all this unsupervised machine learning. What we have been done on SDKs for app can be extended to asset tags. So a lot of these, healthcare workers do have like badges, which is BLE tags. We introduced unsupervised machine learning where it computes a PLF, which is a path loss formula, which gives you a better accurate location of the tags as well as the badges. The other one we have done is we improved the location SDK. So there are requirements of contextual awareness. For simple as I'll talk about some customer use cases we solved. You are walking into a store, they want to know whether you are in this facility so they can give you, your local inventory of that store. But you don't want to do a wayfinding. So there are certain improvements we have done to make it lightweight. There are improvements we have done to give a proactive, lightweight, and fit into all your SDKs. I think Marvis client is star by Sudhir and Slav already mentioned. So Marvis client also is kind of a super app which provides multiple personas, where one of the persona is to give you a location where you get indoor location of that particular client, which can be used for each vertical has different use cases. You don't get the same thing when you are in a warehouse, or if you are in non-GPS facility. That's where we are expanding that. Last but least, so this is a unique innovation. We are the only ones to came up with auto zones, where using AI, computer vision, or image segmenting technology to take your floor plan and classify that as different zones. This is again none of this is, this comes from the customers, where some of us have bigger square feet. There is a customer who has like around 2 million square footage of floor plan. They would want to have zones. Without zones, we don't get the location of people going between the zones. They want to know how many people are coming into conference room, what's the usage of the conference room. And those are the things we did last. And what is, so this is again, auto placement. We had great presentation last time. What we have seen is there is 90% of the times when you have the guided principle for auto placement, we are able to place them in the floor plan accurately. And 7 to 8% we are actually able to solve misplaced APs. Fat fingering, the MAC address will be looking similar, but you place the AP which is supposed to be on a different floor or a different entry. What happens there is a lot of the location calculation, as well as when you are troubleshooting, a lot of things goes away. Those can be eliminated. This is where this year we are looking at making it location aware AI ops, where you just need to give a floor plan. We want to make your life easier, give you auto placement, give you auto orientation, how the AP is placed, where the 16 antenna array is facing to the north. Those were the things we were able to do, focusing on for this year. So this is basically a demo where we are showing how easy it is to create an auto zone. You basically create a floor plan, just drag and drop it, add an image, and start auto zone. It will, if you have any names, like say this is a ballroom, and the other room is also a ballroom, you will take that name from the image and create a zone saying this is Portland Ballroom, and so on and so forth. Why it is important is the conference rooms may be spread across. Now you can actually label them and see what are the utilization of my conference rooms. These are big decision-making information, where they want to know there are some places in your real estate which is not utilized versus some of them is overutilized. So when you speak about location, we all have been aware of the apps which has been using the BLE, virtual BLE, the 16 antenna array for, you can track the BLE app-based. We can have BLE tags. You can also have the passive BLE, which is the devices you're walking around in your store or in your office. We also do the Wi-Fi and connected and unconnected. Now we introduce ultra-wideband. Again, the same philosophy, all standards-based. We are sticking with some of the ultra-wideband standards, and that way we nothing proprietary we are doing. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
For the ultra-wideband, I know like earlier you talked about like a multi-array ultra-wideband antenna.
Yes.
Does that prevent you from installing like additional sensors? Because I know ultra-wideband you need to densify.
So it's a completely different radio.
Okay.
So this has nothing to do with the BLE radio. It's a new chipset, new radio, and that's a different.
And so you know how we have the BT11 to complement like the Bluetooth?
Yes.
Do you have something similar for the ultra-wideband, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Right now, it's AP47 is the first access point.
Okay.
You might lead into this, but a big, so if it's coming up, that's fine. Part of location is knowing where the APs are.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to talk about how Mist knows where your own APs are?
Yeah, that is the one first I was talking about auto placement, but I will talk about in detail in the next slide.
And tied into standard power and GPS and.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I got you.
And another question for the Wi-Fi connected users. Are we talking RSSI, or are we talking like fine time measurements?
So no, these are all, so we are different a little bit from triangulation versus probability surface. So we do PLF and path loss formula machine learning, and we do based on probability surface. That's on the BLE. So Wi-Fi is all the connected based on the triangulation of APs or RSSI.
Okay.
Is that what you want to talk about, Keith? There you go. Okay. So auto placement, I gave you a first slide of how auto placement has been used in the field, how it has been getting good results or acceptance. So one of the key things is auto placement. Now we are using ultra-wideband. So what is the purpose of ultra-wideband is you get much accurate location accuracy, and it is the two things there. One, the accuracy of the data and efficacy of the data. So these two things were significantly high compared to the Wi-Fi FTM based auto placement. So we are also using virtual BLE arrays, which we have, I believe you have seen the access point around here. So we have the latest, which is the diagram there, which has the newer array, which gives you, if you can ask this question, can the UWB auto placement can be just by itself? No. We are actually using the directionality of the antennas to supplement for passive listening as well. So accuracy, efficacy, and scale. Along with that, the other advantage is there is no disruption of Wi-Fi. So you can do it whenever you want to do. You can, even do every day to check that your access point is in place. I'll give you a sample data of a run, so that way. This is actually a auto placement run with ultra wideband. So the blue is the map placement, and the green is actually the algorithm prediction. So you can see it's pretty accurate in most of the parts, but there is one. I don't see this. Yeah, this is the only place where there is a small, deviation from the actual deployment. That is actually the algorithm corrected the map. And if you look at the red dots, these are the 3 anchors used. This is 43 access points. And this gives you like 0.5 meters accuracy 95% of the time.
I guess my question's tied back to those red ones.
Mm-hmm.
Is there GPS in all the APs or only the red ones? Or is that, that's a lot of GPSs to not be working.
So AP47 do have GPS in all the APs. That doesn't guarantee you that you will have the GPS signal, right? So we will use the appropriate, anchors which have the GPS signal. We will also pick from, what is the right one to get the minimum number of anchors. Want to add, Wes?
Just to give a little context. So Keith, for this particular customer, so the algorithm is automatically determining the anchors, right? This isn't anything, no customer input. But for this particular customer, it's all AP47s with GPS. About 10 to 15% of the APs actually are receiving GPS signal. It's a indoor high-rise kind of building, and so the GPS especially indoor is not you won't be able to leverage anywhere. This auto placement with UWB using GPS is actually a method that we have now has been approved by FCC for us to use as part of our standard power, and so this will this auto placement with UWB and a few other methods will be the basis for kind of some of our standard power to augment where GPS is not filling in indoors if a customer desires to use.
And so for the standard power, part of the FCC's algorithm is how many hops away from the lock you have. And so you get fuzzier location.
Yeah, you have to take the worst case.
Yeah, so how does that affect when if they're all GPS and you even get a little bit,
yep,
could you have more locks, more anchors?
Right. So
you could.
Yeah, if your error is very small, as you go more hops, your worst case doesn't grow exponentially, let's say. But if you're uncertain of your location, then you introduce more.
Adds,
yep.
Yeah.
So this is a question I've had for a while. How are you guys exposing? Because as customers begin deploying Wi-Fi 7, especially if they do one-for-one replacements in buildings with concrete walls and minimal windows, right? Getting good anchors could absolutely be an issue. How are you exposing a lack of good anchors to the customers in via dashboard, via messaging, whatever, so that they know, okay, maybe we do need to add some additional APs near external walls or whatever, wherever we have to get that TPS lock.
And you mean in the context of standard power?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Anilash's intent was not to go, it was not specific for standard power, but Keith had asked about it, so I brought it up. And so in the context of standard power, we will have some alerting of, hey, you have standard power configured, but we're not able to make the requests, right? We'll have, it's not fully baked yet, but we'll have some mechanism of, hey, I don't have appropriate geolocation. I can't do GPS.
Okay.
Or I can't make the request because I don't have my geolocation.
Okay. Thank you.
But the intent is, we want to build a mesh, as it's especially for indoor deployments where you're going to use standard power, which may not be all that common. We'll see. We have multiple methods of kind of building this AP to AP mesh, and so with the intention that it's unlikely that you wouldn't at least have one AP in the vicinity with GPS. Now it's anything's possible, but the intent is just use what you have and permeate as if you have more, great. If you have just one, okay, we'll work with that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the cool kid in the block. So we have this Marvis client. We spoke about this in multiple contexts. And this is the different personas of Marvis client, right? So this is the one what the access assurance used for NAC onboarding, have the certificate installed. You have an enterprise user having their Windows machine and using this for telemetry, finding trouble tickets, and the last one is a warehouse where you have Zebra devices like their handhelds, what they are trying to do their job, and if at all I can get location as well as the telemetry. That's where all these different personas combine together. And one thing I just want to point to here is this particular data set, what we are collecting, in be it on the poster, identifying what's the radio driver, what's the operating version, all those things, combined with the location of that particular person when a roaming issue happened. This eliminates a lot of hassle for IT administrators to manage those devices, in the saying that usually when you have a warehouse user calling for a ticket saying that I have issues in my application, he comes back at least 20 minutes later to make that ticket. By the time we lost what was happening, so I had a customer who have around 100,000 of these devices, and they're using this to find out, okay, if I get a ticket, they look at the location of that that particular person for last, whenever this issue happened, they look back and play, what are the other tickets where you had the same problem at that same time, or is that just one-off things, or is that a environment issue where they can address. That's one use case of, it can eliminate a lot of troubleshooting, boots on the ground, and things like that. The last one I want to emphasize here is, as Bob and Sudhir already mentioned, a lot of this information of what is your battery at that time when this happened, what's your CPU utilization, all this telemetry is being taken in for our large language models, as well as for the user himself to see this is what is happening from an IT admin to troubleshoot their issues.
Quick one then. Obviously, the client's got to be running for you to get that telemetry data?
Client has to be, yeah, this is only
Yeah.
when the client is on action. So we are not expecting, this is when you are working, when your associate is in your warehouse. Yeah, it has to be running.
So I guess I could have the client on my device, but unless I set the client, you're not going to get that telemetry data. So is there any ways of trying to encourage people to actually have the client on?
So there are two audience we are serving here, right? One is sorry. Okay, thanks. So this is a BYD use case. This is just for certificate onboarding. They are on their own. But when it comes to enterprise or warehouse users, these are all managed devices, right? The IT team decides what you want to have on the applications on their managed devices, right? So this is the only case where you have BYOD. You can opt in if you want to send telemetry or not.
Yeah, no, I guess what I'm thinking is, okay, it's an enterprise device. You push the client to the device. That's what the corporation is going to do. But how do you get the user to start the client?
Oh, it's just an agent.
Oh, so even on a phone, it will always be running?
It's just an agent sitting and sending telemetry. You don't have to do anything.
On Android.
On Android?
Not on iOS.
Yeah, I was going to say on iOS.
Not on iOS.
You have to start the app. That's what I was getting at.
So it's only on Windows, Mac OS, and Android.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? I will jump to a little bit of some of the success stories or case. We have a customer who has around more than hundreds of sites, which has been using our access point, turning our BLE radio to manage the electronic shelf labels across their brick and mortar store chain. We now have around 8 million of ESL tags being managed or using our infrastructure, completely eliminating any overlay networks, overlay hardwares. And that is where, you get more out of, it's not just the Wi-Fi, you can do extra value add for your business. I will quickly jump. I'm trying to be sensitive of time. This one is just the way we think about the app integration is always, people think about, wayfinding. It's not just wayfinding. We have more than 3 customers who is trying to do like detecting whether you are in the store so that you can actually get access to the inventories in that particular store. And once you go out of the store, it automatically want to clear them from the cart so that they can use it for the next potential customer coming to the store. And this can be accomplished with the Juniper's location SDK, which is utilizing the same VBLE technology. And last one I want to share you was this is the one cool. This is again the same use case. There is AR, VR wayfinding nowadays in the apps, and there are customers using our location SDK to do camera-based augmented reality wayfinding. And another important use case, I brought it up here is this particular customer has some classified areas where you're not supposed to bring your phones, and we detect the location. And what happens is like they send like an amber alert, like a buzz sound to say you're here, you're not supposed to have a digital device in this premise. So the way of thinking location is not like nice to have. It is more towards adding value, and it's getting to a must have in this world. All right.
3 minutes.
Okay. All right. So we collect a lot of data, and this comes to analytics where we have a complete full stack from access point to SD-WAN product called Premium Analytics. Premium Analytics gives you the IT administrator or IT persona, you can take that data using for your capacity planning, your resource management, all the regular things for IT. But the same data can be utilized by line of business in a different angle. For example, if I give the occupancy analytics, what I was talking about before, what an IT person will be looking at may not be the same angle as a marketing person will be looking at, or maybe a real estate will be looking at a different angle where it will give you where I should be sending my janitorial staff, or how I need to move my office space into more phone booths or things like that. So, okay. There are, by default, it is 13 months. There are a lot of customers. So I want to give you a simple example. So there was a customer who want to go from a typical phones to VoIP phones, and they were using the trend of last 13 months of Wi-Fi data to find out where is the roaming happening, so that they can plan to have a natural migration when the schools were coming back from break, want to have the new devices, and they had a very successful implementation. Another customer used for the network POE budgeting and planning for having new stores. What's the trend? What's the peak time? And there are different ways of looking at it from IT. One of the customer was looking for finding out they were trying to buy some lease lines or internet links, and they want to know what is my utilization, what time I need to have my peak utilization, when you can. And this literally happened where they were showing this data to the vendor service provider and said, this is what I'm using, I don't want to use this data. So it helps you on that. So asset insights is basically whatever we had on the asset tags. Now we want to give you breakdown of historic data of how this asset was going across your facility, which zone to which zone. There are use cases when it comes to healthcare where they have devices which has been rendered and kept. So those devices is being utilized or not. Those are the things you can get from asset visibility. NAC or the access assurance is the same as what we have talked about before. With that, I will give it back to the.
Thank you, everybody. I know the room has become really hot. It must be all the hot technology that came out, or maybe not. But really, we stand tall on the shoulders of a lot of our customers that have brought us this far, and this community. Honestly, I think Mobility Field Day and WLPC have been really pivotal in helping us shape and keeping us grounded in the innovation we're going after. So we really appreciate every one of you delegates in the room. Thank you for the participation. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the partnership. For everybody online, we appreciate you making time for being part of the Juniper presentation. And for all of our customers and partners, a humble thank you. We would not be here today, at this place, literally leading the innovation for the industry for wired and wireless without all of your help and support. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you at the next MFD.